Hello everybody and welcome. I'm gonna go over patch notes. So as a top 500 player, I am not that all happy with these changes. Um, I do agree with one of the changes for Tricera as a Tricera main, and that would be the anti-air drones. Um, the rest of it of Tricera nerfs, I don't quite agree. Um, a lot of these changes, well, not a lot, but like, we'll say, out of how many strikers here? 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of the 13 changes. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 13 changes are low elo changes, and I don't quite agree with them, especially when two of them are really strong in high elo, and two of them are really bad in high elo, and I don't know why we're catering the players that are just learning the game. Um, but that's just me. So we're gonna go over Falcon. Falcon needed some changes. Falcon kind of struggled in non pre-made comps. And what I mean by that, Falcon kind of struggled in solo queue. Um, and higher elos, they didn't have to deal with Triceras as much because Tricera, you've got a few one tricks in the top 100 right now. I haven't really been playing on my main that much because just it kind of sucks. Because there's always a Sky Raider most of the time. There's always an Aquila. And then there's always normally an Inferno. Every once in a while, you'll see somebody that actually knows how to use Serenith, and it's the fucking most broken shit I've ever fucking seen. Some people in high elo still don't know what they're doing with Serena, so when you see that, you're kind of like, thank God. Um, Serenith is kind of one of those. I don't think a lot of even semi high elo players know how to use her correctly yet. Her kit is weird, but she has one of the strongest potentials for skilled players, in my opinion. Um, I kind of already knew that was kind of the case with Serena. I just didn't think a lot of people knew how to fully utilize her kit correctly. Um, so let's see here. Falcon, I do think needed a buff at least for solo queue. Eliseness, I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion of Eliseness. Uh, I think the unit's alright. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's amazing. I do know that they're really hard to kill, and I think that's just the way they work. To be honest, Aleseness is harder to kill than a Tricera, at least in higher elo. Like, yeah, you can whittle them down if they make enough mistakes, but if you know what you're doing, you don't die. Um, Tricera and Stego were kind of low elo nerfs. A lot of people don't know how to pin out Stego or Tri, and I'm trying to be nice about this, but low elo players just don't know how to fucking handle them. Period. Um, I'm not gonna say what I want to say about it because I am still kind of salty about these changes, especially when Tricera and Stego don't actually really tank that well in high elo. Stego just kind of gets ran down. Tricera's kind of in a similar boat, especially if you position poorly. With like things like Inferno and Panaka running around as a healer, especially a fucking Sky Raider into an Aquila sometimes. So you'll have to have like things like Inferno, Panaka, Sky Raider, Aquila into things like Welkin and we'll say every once in a while like a Stego or Try. At least for a tank to go well with the Welkin. Um, Stego is being and Trier being played high elo, but like I've had more times in high elo where like to be honest, I'm sweating less playing sweatier mechs. Um, right now it is not fun. It's basically get hit on top of your head constantly, and basically you're constantly having to move because if you sit still, you just die. Um, Stego at least has smoke. I think Stego has a bit more survivability against range comps. Um, for people that have a trained eye with Stego, it's really easy to hit them in their haze if you manually aim. The issue is we're probably balancing it around also Xbox as well. Um, Welkin, the nerfs were kind of deserved. Let's be honest here. Um, there's a lot of Welkin players in the top 100 right now. Um, Narukami definitely needed some adjustment. So the two that I do really agree with right here are the Narukami and the Hurricane changes. I do think Hurricane is going to be goated as fucking hell. To the point where it probably is going to be borderline overpowered once people learn how to utilize its new kit properly. Um, I'm kind of at that point of why play Tricera when I can play Hurricane basically with these changes. Um, yeah, Tricera has physical damage. Yeah, Tricera has Howitzer, but I don't feel like a tank anymore. I feel like even if I sit in the back, I can just be targeted. Um, Sky Raider, I see why they did it. At least for a little bit. Sky Raider was heavily played in the first tournament. At least in NA, to the point of Falcon wasn't even played at all. By the way, um, I kind of I used to be on a team. Uh, I'm not gonna get into that drama, but I basically got left holding the bag because I've had some people that were shot callers that didn't like me because they just wanted yes men, even though they were a bunch of greenhorns that just started playing the game that thought that they knew everything. Um, so I'm not gonna get into that drama, especially with some of the other things that kind of happen on with that team, and I wind up joining another team, and they won't scrim, they won't coordinate team combat at all. It's really obnoxious. And then when we actually did tournament, it basically was just a solo queue environment. No pings, no coordinated fights, nothing. Like it honestly made me look like a piece of shit, and I'm not happy with it. Um, so Narukami will be really nice, especially for things like keys and what's the other one? Observatories. Could also be really useful on things like not Poseidon, Sinkhole. I think with Sinkhole, if you're depending on the range of your drone and where you're standing, you can make it easy for your team to be able to cap point, especially with Welkin on point, because it makes it really hard to tell where the Welkin's shield is at in order to cap point. I do think Narukami will be really good at capturing or helping your team capture. Um, Sky Raider, we'll go back to that. Um, Damage increase, it just means that I'm the one as a Tricera player still holding the fucking bag. Sky Raider no longer can. Falcon versus Sky Raider is no longer like one sided. Eventually the Sky Raider has to sit down and recharge the anti missiles to keep this Falcon from fucking up the Sky Raider. Aquila kind of saw that one coming, especially with how strong it is in Mashmac. Panaka, be honest, I think Panaka, at least in a semi-coordinated fight, isn't as easy to pick off. And the reason why I say this is the shield gives kind of gives stagger immunity. So in a coordinated team, the Panaka can definitely peel itself. The only one that really kills Panaka, I would say, is Welkin. And Panaka is probably going to get really strong for especially the Welkin nerfs. Panaka was still, in some scenarios, really strong, definitely on certain maps and high elos. Um, and especially into some team comps. Um, Inferno, this is also kind of one of those low elo buffs because, like, a lot of people that are really good at Inferno in the top 500 are really fucking good and hard to fucking get a hold of. It just means that they're even stronger now. We're just lucky that this isn't a damage buff, but like, it's gonna be really hard to get on the Inferno now. A good Inferno, you won't fucking catch. Period. Um, Serenith, to be honest, I don't think they should have touched this character yet. There's a lot of people still learning this character, and the ones that are really good at it, there's basically, in some situations, there's nothing you can do. And now that it also grants immunity to all debuffs, immunity to stagger, and immunity to mobilizations, um, I'm not gonna lie. I think in high elo, Serenith is probably gonna be fucking untouchable. And when I mean fucking untouchable, depending on how this new kit works, nobody's gonna be able to touch her. Especially when Aquila used to be one of the units that would be able to deal with Serenith. And that just got nerfed, so Serenith basically just got fucking free reign. Um, I know she doesn't deal with two melees very well, but if you've got like a Welkin into, let's say here, Stellaris, Stellaris can't deal with it anymore. If Welkin doesn't have shield, it just gets grappled, and then it can't fight back. Um, I'm trying to think how you would even deal with our Serenith and high elo now. Orbital strike. The charge one doesn't really fucking worry me that much, to be honest. A lot of times it's really fucking dodgeable, even on Tricera. It also means that you're fucking killing your teammates more often with it, too. Especially if you spam the charge one. Energy consumption. I did notice Serenath had some energy issues. I do think that was a decent change. I do think Serenath kind of needed that, but I do think depending on how the Ox 2 works, I'm probably gonna do some testing on it. The Disruptor Grappler. Ooh boy, if a melee goes at her one at a time, they basically don't get to fucking do jack shit about her. This character just basically, if the person's skilled enough, there's nothing you can do about a Serenith besides everybody fucking run her down. And the thing is, due to her kit, it's going to be hard to fucking run her down. I don't know. I'd have to wait to see, but like, out of everything here, I think Serenith is probably going to be the most overpowered. It's either that or Hurricane. Inferno was already strong in high elo. This also makes it like semi S tier. Like your S tiers are probably going to be Hurricane, Inferno, Serenith. Well, Stego and Try, at least in very high elos, are going to be damn near Fs. Falcon will be able to solo queue now. But that's all I have to really go over for at least high elo with these changes. At least if you're in the top 500. But thank you all for watching, and everybody have a good day.